Well, Singapore currently uses carbon taxes to push industries to go green, but there are also service providers offering carbon credit schemes that allow emitters to offset their emissions. CRX CarbonBank has launched a program in Singapore for electric cars to generate carbon credits from the reduction in gas emission. The Electric Vehicle Accelerator, or EVA program, uses a blockchain process to capture data and compute emissions. Well, to understand this better, let's speak with Vinod Kesava, co-founder and CEO of CarbonBank. Well, Vinod, explain to us, in simple terms, what the EVA is about and how it can generate carbon credits from electric vehicles.
Well, thank you very much indeed for having me on this program. And I just want to say that, first of all, I came up with the idea about 2 years ago, and we've actually evolved it into a point where we can understand how we can actually generate carbon credits from the difference between using an internal combustion engine versus an EV, right? So obviously there are emissions from EVs because we're using the Singapore grid to power the vehicles, but the Singapore grid is, very small in terms of emissions compared to what you would burn in an internal combustion engine or an ICE engine, right? So that's how it is. So carbon credits can be generated from that perspective.
Yeah, Vinod, so then how can these carbon credits be calculated and then used?
So basically, when we calculate the carbon credits, it means that there's a difference between what was the baseline and what was the project emissions. And therefore, you have a delta in terms of that difference. And those become carbon credits. So for example, in Singapore, if you talk about cars and taxis, we are looking at about 1.6 to 2 tons of CO2 reductions per vehicle per month, per year, right? And then you have buses, which can go up to as much as 12 tons per year. So that is the essential thing behind how we generate the carbon credits. Now, what we have gone on, and we have announced this today at the Sustainable Energy Association of Singapore, and we've signed up with Gojek as a first partner on it, is to ensure that charging point operators, fleet owners, fleet operators can actually be a part of it, meaning to say that they can actually generate carbon credits. And we are here to provide that service to them in terms of, first, an incentive towards how much of megawatt hours or kilowatt hours they are charging. And then on top of that, monetize carbon credits in the future. That is how it actually works.
Yeah, Vinod, so about Gojek, coming on board as a first user of EFA, what about individual owners? Can, individual owners of electric cars also benefit, and how?
I think so. At some point in the future, the way we have designed it at the minute is essentially how entities or companies can actually engage in it. So as I mentioned, charge point operators, fleet owners, fleet operators. And it's almost like your mobile phone, right? Your mobile phone. It's like if you join a certain company, you will get rebates and incentives over the years. And I think it can only be done as a downstream way of passing these incentives and carbon credit revenues downstream. In the initial phase, the way we started off is to ensure that we are able to make it work from the perspective that carbon credits are generated from data and information that we collect from the companies that have joined us, for example, Gojek.
Oh, many thanks for that, Vinod Kesava, CEO of CRX CarbonBank.